Hi, my name is Robert Kennedy. I'm the Global Head of Delivery for Intelligent Automation in Capgemini Business Services. I'm very excited to share Capgemini's fast track to a digitally augmented workforce at scale with you today. I'll be taking you through the 4 key steps of our methodology and highlight how we are leveraging intelligent automation with our partners such as Blue Prism to deliver what I think is a unique, effective, and responsible offering that'll transform the way you think about deploying automation in your core operating business processes. So let's talk a little bit about what the digitally augmented workforce methodology is. This is Capgemini's approach to empowering the people within the business processes of your operations and enabling them to do great things by creating a citizen developer program to upskill your operations staff and give them the opportunity to organically grow your intelligent automation footprint from within. In parallel, we guide you through the creation of a solid process operating model and a strong governance structure to really guide them through their success. And we work with our premier partners like Blue Prism to fully leverage an all-in-one intelligent automation platform technology. And then lastly, we cannot ignore the effects of the global pandemic and the manual execution of our critical business processes. So we wanted to give you guidance on how to take an automation-first approach to leverage your augmented workforce and prepare for what lies ahead. Our first and most important focus area is the empowerment of the people who know your operational business processes best. They are the key to unlocking the full potential of automation in your business, but first we have to give them the knowledge that they need to do so. Creating a people strategy for your augmented workforce is the first step in the journey, and that begins with finding the best candidates within your operations. Capgemini works with your operational leadership to generate profiles that identify the best resources for each of the roles within intelligent automation. Analysts, developers, testers, and automation managers are all carefully identified from your current team. Then using your own documentation and runbooks, along with the training modules and best practices from our partners such as Blue Prism, and Capgemini's highly experienced team of intelligent automation consultants and developers, we create a tailored automation training curriculum specifically targeted at making the technical world of automation easy to consume for non-technical operational subject matter experts. Once we have a tailored curriculum, we then design a pilot program with 10 to 15% of your resources. We put your resources through the curriculum, and after completion, we assign real operational business processes from their area of expertise and guide them through the design, the build, testing, and finally deployment of their first automated business processes. Now, as the success of the first pilot projects take hold, we typically see the empowerment of your operational experts spread through the organization and also to other organizations. So the next step is really to help you scale up that augmented workforce program, to identify more candidates, send them through the curriculum, deliver more automation projects, and organically grow your intelligent automation pipeline from within. Now, sometimes our clients need a little help thinking about the best areas to target for automation of their business processes. Capgemini leverages our digital global enterprise model to give you examples of best-in-class automation opportunities in the key business areas that we have had the most success with. This will inspire you to look into some new areas of your business that will generate excellent opportunities for automation success. Where we found IPA generates the most gains are in these areas. HR services is, of course, a great opportunity for getting citizen developers within the HR services to look at their operational business process and consider automation. Things like data entry, new joiners, people that are moving within the organization, people that happen to be leaving the company, benefits administration and things like that. All excellent opportunities for the operational experts in these spaces to be able to take a look at this from an automation perspective and recommend some good processes. Finance and accounting is another excellent opportunity where our subject matter experts in procurement to payment, order to cash, according to reporting, are usually very vocal in looking or in suggesting areas that are excellent opportunities for automation. Our IT services team is a great place to take a look at from the software deployment, routine maintenance and monitoring, especially in the password reset and unlock space. Those are great opportunities for the operational experts that know how to do these things to really elevate those opportunities. And then, of course, in supply chain, demand and supply planning, work order management, route planning, freight management, all of those types of things. And a lot of these areas are where it might not be obvious for automation deployment, but when you talk to the operational experts in those areas, they tend to give you some really good ideas about what could be automated in their particular areas. So here we have the Capgemini Digital Global Enterprise Model. And within that is 7 key elements that our consultants use to explore business transformation. Within this powerful tool is a specific set of models that we can use to highlight the best processes to focus on for automation. And within those processes, what are the best automation tools and techniques to use? So this is an excellent resource for the augmented workforce because it can highlight business processes that may be overlooked or may be deemed to be not a good candidate for automation because of some conventional thinking. So Capgemini helps you think outside the box when it comes to automation. And this tool, along with your subject matter experts in the augmented workforce, can lead to the uncovering of more automation opportunity than you may have realized in your previous analysis. So Capgemini's Digital Global Enterprise Model allows our consultants to compare your operational processes with what Capgemini considers best in class, and then helps you understand where in the operational process is best to deploy the robot. This empowers our consultants to work with your process subject matter experts to challenge that conventional thinking and visualize new areas of opportunity that should be explored. It also helps us to see if your operational processes are more complex than they need to be, which might suggest it would be better to simplify the process before developing an automation. This is very important for citizen developers, as we must be careful to pick processes that are simple or maybe a medium complexity to ensure a successful experience. Capgemini is a partner in your automation journey, and we have a very broad and very deep experience with all of the technology at your fingertips. Sometimes it can be overwhelming to decide what tools to use. Sometimes you may not be using all of the features and functionality of the tools you already have. Sometimes you may need an additional tool or a module to augment what you already have and unlock the full potential of the intelligent automation platform. So that brings us to our third key area of focus, which is technology. So some of the things that we look for in an intelligent automation technology, probably first and foremost, is an enterprise-grade platform. We'll be placing critical business processes on this platform, and so we need it to operate in a reliable, repeatable, and secure fashion so that we can have the confidence that these automated business processes will run consistently. The second thing is a low or no-code user interface. Our citizen developers in the augmented workforce don't need to rely on coding or software languages. We want to be able to enable folks that don't have these particular skill sets to still be able to be successful in developing and deploying an automation. So something with a low or no code user interface that helps those folks to be able to build those automations without knowing a specific programming language is really critical for us. Along those lines as well is a reusable library of process and objects. So as people build different processes and different objects, we would like other people to be able to reuse what's already been built. So things like single sign-on for logins, or if there's a specific call to an email system within the bots that's common across different operational processes, rather than each person having to develop that particular part of the bot over and over again, using the reusable library, we would be able to pull those different operations down and insert them into automations so that we can speed up the development of those automations, and also make sure that anything that may be a secure perspective, like an SSO login or something like that, can be repeatable so that we can create it once and then distribute it to all of our citizen developers to be able to reuse across all of their automations. Attended and unattended bot capability is important. We typically like to go after unattended bots. That's where we get the most value. So those are bots that once you program them, they would be able to be triggered either through a time or through a date or through some other action. And you really don't have to keep an eye on those bots. They run unattended, they do their job, and then deliver what they need to. But it's also nice to have an attended option, because that way, especially from a crisis perspective, if you need to generate quick bots that maybe are only going to be used in a temporary fashion or are needed for a large volume of work that may have come in unexpectedly, having that option to have attended bots is also a very good thing for the platform to have. Very important for us is a central management of the bots themselves. So as your citizen developers in the augmented workforce build these bots, they need to still be centrally managed, especially from a password and from a timing and from a scheduling perspective. And so we like to look for a platform that has that central management capability, so that all of our bots, whether they be created by developers or created by an augmented workforce and a citizen developer, they all live in a central management system so they can be managed and monitored from one place. And then lastly, what I like to look for is some of the most advanced technology. So we're looking for things like machine learning and data extraction capability. As your augmented workforce gets more and more experience, we're going to find that the simple RPA just doesn't hold up to some of the processes that they're going to discover are good opportunities for automation. And so that's why we really like to have an automation technology platform that has a machine learning element, so that as you grow into that next level of capability, the platform that you have also grows with you and is ready to support those things, especially in the area of intelligent document processing and things like that. So having that machine learning capability in the platform itself is really important for us from the beginning, so that it can grow along with your program. Lastly, we can't talk about the augmented workforce without considering the profound impact that COVID-19 has had on our operations. Now more than ever is the time to truly take a pause and consider how important automation is in the critical business process of your company, and how each of us should be considering how we deploy these incredible tools at our disposal to insulate our operational business processes from the effect of temporary loss of our human workforce to things like sickness and quarantine. So your continuity of business strategy really should include automation to truly empower your workforce and insulate those critical business processes for disruption. And really what we see is three key spaces to try and keep it moving, to try and keep those business processes moving in times of crisis. So the first thing is the immediate response. Right? It's all about limiting the disruption. And we call these what we call first aid services. Investing in the automation of critical business process ahead of the curve is probably the number one thing. Using your augmented workforce, using your citizen developers to really understand what those critical business processes are, and try to automate, invest in that automation ahead of any of those curves. Restoring and operating critical business capabilities across the value chain through the use of that automation will be critical when you need to do an immediate response to something that happens. And then deploying those crisis action plans and governance and communication in conjunction with your automation is also really important. Communication is the key when it comes to the response. We've seen that time and time again over the last few months here. And then the next phase is really about restoring all of that business. So what we call our stabilization services. This is where we deploy quick, low and no code automations in places where continuity of business gaps are identified. And having those citizen developers be able to deploy those quick, low and no code automations is really, really valuable in restoring those services. You should be ready to scale automation to cover those work queue increases. Sometimes in certain lines of business, a crisis like we've been experiencing actually has the opposite effect of other places where we see large work queue increases in certain areas. And so being able to deploy those low and no code automations in a very quick fashion helps you be able to scale when those work queues suddenly jump due to some kind of response. And then we really need to define new ways of working, leveraging previously deployed automation. So that's what we call the next normal. So thinking about the different automations that we already have in place, are there new ways to reuse those automations to be able to make a quick response to something that may be a gap in continuity of business? And so being able to understand how those automations work and having a team of people ready to see if we can modify those to do similar functions in other areas when a gap is identified. And then lastly is really relaunching. So this is about what we call the resilient enterprise services. So it's really key to perform impact assessments of the business processes that are affected by operational challenges. So taking a look at what happened and seeing where automation could have been a big help from that business process perspective, and then using that knowledge to define a new automation first process transformation plan to really change and become a resilient enterprise so that the next time the crisis occurs, you already have an automation first approach and being able to learn from what has happened in the past to affect the better response in the future. So these are really the three areas that we like you to think about when it comes to augmented workforce and that type of pandemic response that we have to think about. So that is my overview of how Capgemini leverages intelligent automation to fast-track a digitally augmented workforce at scale. Through the resource profiling, a customized training curriculum, pilot projects, and efficiently scaling that program up, you empower your most important resource, your people, to become those citizen developers of automation. Through comparison of your business processes to industry best in class and leveraging the experience of a great partner, you reimagine the way the processes are identified for automation. Through the selection of an all-in-one platform that is robust and secure, easy to use, has all those capabilities that you need now and in the future, and allows you to centrally manage all of those automations, you set the foundation for success. And by leveraging all of this in the future response to the operational new normal that we must now always be mindful of, I hope that you consider all of these key areas of focus in your digital journey to augmented operations. On behalf of Capgemini, I would like to thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.